Now that we've gotten the layout and style of DAZ Studio finalized, or at least close to it, we're going to go ahead and look at the menus and options that are available. Some of them are going to be for rigging, and some of them are for content creation, and we will go over those in another tutorial. But for now, I'm going to show you where things are so that you'll get a kind of idea where to find them later. As with any other program, you're going to have your file and edit menus. They mostly are the same as with any other program, though edit has a lot more options specific to DAZ Studio, and file has at least one that is specific to DAZ Studio. So we're going to look at the file menu first, and we're going to come over here and click on file. Okay, we're going to go to file. You see new. That of course opens a new project. You can use it to clear out your whole screen by just doing file new. Open, you can open a scene file that you've already done. And we'll go ahead and click on it so we can look at it. You can open DUFs, DSFs, DAS, DSAs, DSBs, DSEs, and DSs. And you're not going to use this much unless you're opening a scene file, but usually you wouldn't use it for a DSA or DSC, though there are reasons to use it once in a while. Once you have that, you have open recent. This is a good place, like if you've saved a bunch of scene files and you want to call up, like say, one that you created 2 weeks ago and it's still in your recent files, you could go ahead and just quickly open it that way. Merge will allow you to open two different scenes, like you create a scene with a figure and a background, and then you have one that you had a garden in that you created. You can merge the two scenes together, and that's what merge was for, and really good way to create new scenes from two different scenes. Save allows you to save in different formats, or save as a DUF, sorry. I was thinking of save as, actually. This will allow you to save your DUF files, but actually, this is a good way to save your scene files, like your completed scene files, rather than saving a product. The save as menu, actually, is where you would save information of your product. This is where you would save a scene file as well. You can save as a scene subset. Hierarchical material and pose sets, wearables, characters, properties, shaping, and this is for content creation most of the time, because it also has your support assets. So if you're saving a figure like jewelry and you want to save the support assets, which is basically the OBJs and all the information about the object, though DAZ Studio saves it as data and UV sets. And depreciated will allow you to save as DS4 and I believe it is 3 presets. If you come down here, depreciated, deform, presets, puppeteers, pose, all of these are, I believe that they are 3 and 4, though they may be 4. I'm pretty sure that they are 3 because I've used them before, but then you have on your menu save last render. So if you've rendered a scene, you can save the last one if you decided not to. It's still kind of held in the memory. Import and export, of course, you can import DAEs, BVHs, FBX, poser files of all formats, wavefront objects, and even posers OBZs. And then you have all your formats, so you can scroll through and look for those. You can also export, file export, as OBJs, 3Ds, CR2s, DAEs, BVHs, and MDDs. And we'll go over these when in a future tutorial. I'm going to show you how to create some products. So you can go over this. We will go over this in that tutorial more in depth. But that's where you're going to find your export. And then we have our bridges, which is send to Bryce and send to Hexagon. So if you're working on a scene and you want to do the landscaping in Bryce, you can easily just send the whole thing by selecting it all and sending it all to Bryce, or you can, if you wanted to say make a morph for Genesis, you can load her up and then send it to Hexagon, and we'll go into those later as well. And then you got your exit, which closes down the program. The edit is mostly the same as any product or like Photoshop and that, but it has a few options that are specific to DAZ Studio, and certain tasks. And again, we'll go over those in another tutorial as to what they are fully for. But you have copy and paste, object, figure, scenes. Now the object figure and scenes all relate to mostly the rigging and information of your mesh that is loaded in DAZ Studio. So usually you would use those mostly for creating product. But there are other reasons why you might use them. Like if you're a customer and you've made a specific morph and you wanted to save it, there's a reason you might use this. Especially if you're adjusting the figure and even the skeleton, you might want to save that information. So you would use this. And we'll go again into depth with it later. One of my favorite things is if you're creating like a scene and you wanted a backdrop of like a sky or whatever, this is where you would find your options for that, and you just click on it. It brings up this menu, and you have image, so you can browse. You can remove it by hitting none. You can use the image editor and the layered image editor, and then you can rotate it, and it gives you some options here for rotating it, and you can also flip it horizontally or vertically. So you can easily add a background and then also pull it off if you wanted to. And again, like I said, it is really super easy to just browse. And I'm just going to call up this one. And as you see, it puts, I hit accept so I can scroll out. It puts that background in the background. And if you want to remove it, say you wanted to choose another one, or just you decided now I'll use something else for that, you could easily come here and hit none and hit accept, and it clears it out. Then we have audio, which will allow you to import audio for your animations and movies that you're creating. And then we have our preference menu, which I showed you in the earlier tutorial. And so we don't really need to go over this, but that's where you find that. And you can always, again, check for updates. And as you can see, mine's up to date. Okay, and then you have your device settings. And what this does is allows you to set your settings for 3D connection and Sandio 3D mouse. I don't have either, so not going to use to set those because I don't have them installed. Create. Now these are little, this is an option of creating everything from a deformer to a new primitive to cameras and lights. It also allows you to create a new geometry shell and node instances. So, if you're creating lights and cameras in your scenes, this would be the best place to do that with. There's also icons on the bar, which I'll go over later. So if you wanted to create a primitive, say, you come to new primitive, and the type, it'll give you everything from a cube to a plane. You can have the originate object center or the world center. And you can also type in the sizes and choose from between meters and inches. You can also put the divisions, which is basically like polygons in a way. It will divide the prop up so that you can better use it. Though DAZ Studio is not a modeling program, so you're better off. There are reasons to use divisions, and I'll show you later in a tutorial, but for if you're just like wanting a ground plane, say, you can set it like that and just have it on one division. But if, say, you were doing something special with that ground plane, and I'll show you why you would use that later, you might set it at higher divisions. Same thing with any of the props. Again, you can create lights and cameras, and there are four different lights. The primitive, a new null. A null is great for putting things together. So say you've got a building that is in 10 different parts, and instead of parenting them all together, you can throw them all in this null. And what the null does is act like a group. So it groups things together. And it makes it really easy so that if, say, you've decided, oh, I don't want that building, you don't have to go and delete 10 different objects. You can just click on the null and remove it. So I'll show you how that works real quick. You can name the null anything you want. You can also apply default settings, apply active viewport transforms, copy selected item target new null, and create a persistent point at target null. Not really going to go into that much right now. I'm just going to show you how the null works. So I'm going to hit accept. That's my null. And then I'm going to create a couple of primitives. So create new primitive. And we'll create, say, a sphere. And for now, I'm just going to move it really quickly over here. And then let's say we'll just do a couple of these spheres. So I'll just move that one back there. And then one more sphere, and we'll put it here. Click on the right sphere, and then move it. Okay, so we've got our 3 spheres, and as you see, if I wanted to delete them, I could either shift and hold and click to select all, or I'd have to delete each and every one. But if you put them in the null like that, you can really easily just delete, like remove item from scene, and you can move them. Say you like the spacing of the spheres, or if you've got a building together and you don't want to lose the way it's put together and move each and every piece, by having it in a null, you can easily move the whole group, as you can see, and place it where you want it. Instead of having like a figure where you can, or parenting them all, you can use the null and leave them unparented and manipulate them to where you want them, or, you know. So that's what a null is for, and it's really good for grouping items together. And that is the tools, or create menu. Again, we'll go over what each one does in subsequent tutorials. So let's look at tools now, and this tools, it pairs really well with the tool setting pane, and I'm going to show you. I've already got it loaded up. As you can see, this pane has different options, and it's going to change with each tool. So like for now, I have the universal tool selected, and use local coordinates, and I can mess with those, and again, show you in a subsequent tutorial all about this. If I come and select node selection, you see a whole bunch of, or a few options for that. Universal, then we got rotate, all the options for that. What these tool settings does is allow you to better manipulate and better control those tools. So, and you can change, like I said, on this active tool, you can change right here in this drop down menu, or you can come up to tools and choose them, you know, same way. So there's all the tools are like really easy, and so you got your node selection, universal tool, rotate, translate, and scale. You have surface selection, region navigator, joint editor. You have a polygon group editor, a spot renderer tool. You have no weight map brush, and active pose and animate 2. So again, we'll go over these in depth in later tutorials, because it's very important to know how to better use these tools in your workflow. So then we have Connect, and I've been asked several times, why do they have Connect? Well, Connect allows you to quickly go to the store. Instead of going to your browser and pulling up, you know, dialing or typing in DAS or finding your bookmark, this allows a straight access to the store. And you can connect through your account. You can go straight to your cart. Say you have a whole bunch of stuff in your cart, or even one item, and you want to go to your cart because you want that right now. So you can easily go quickly to your cart. You can go to your wish list, and you can also, after you finish the render, say, I'm ready to post it. I want it in my gallery. You can go to your gallery. And real quick, I'm going to show you how that works. We're just going to pull it up. like so, and it goes straight to your gallery. Now you may have to log in if you haven't logged in during the session of your browser. So you may have to log in before you go straight to your gallery, but it takes you straight to your gallery when after you log in. So, and like I said, the other ones take you to the store. My account will take you straight to your account page, which I'm not going to load that right now. My cart allows you to go straight to your cart. I'll load that. There you go. So it takes you straight to your cart. I don't have anything in my cart. So that's what that's for. That's an easy way to get to the store when you're working. Like, you're creating a character and you realize she's looking a little drab. I need to add some new hair, or I need to add some jewelry, and I got to go to Daz, or I'd like to go to Daz to buy something. So I want to see what they've got in the way of jewelry. So it's a quick way of taking you there. And again, after you finish your render and you say you like it, you want to post it, you can go straight to your gallery. Window. We've gone over a couple of things in this original video in this set. So we've gone over workspace and style, so we're not going to really touch on those. Panes, I'll show you what's in there, but we will go over each one in other tutorials. So panes. Panes are the panels on either side of my user interface right now. These are the tabs that for my tools that I'm going to be using. Now, some of them are already loaded, but this is a quick way to call up if you accidentally closed it, or you want a new one. Like, you say you're building shaders. You want the shader builder or the shader mixer. Let's go for the shader mixer. Shader mixer. You call it up that way. Then you can take it over here and you can dock it along the side. Except I think I turned off docking. Let's see, that would be right there. Yes, I locked docking. So if you unlock your docking, you can then drag it over here and it then puts it on the panel. If, like I said, you closed it and you want it back, you can window, pane, and shader mixer. So you can close it and open it that way. And I did not mean to do that. Okay, we'll go back over it. So your panes here will allow you to open up different tools so that you can mix and match as needed, or just use them when you want. There's certain ones I leave open all the time. I have on my bars, but oftentimes I will go to the Windows panes and open an animation if I'm testing an animation or wanting to create an animation, or my shader mixer when I'm creating shaders, but I don't use it all the time, so I don't want it on my bars all the time. But there's a lot of good tools there, and we'll go over each one in depth in another tutorial. Viewports. Viewports allows you to switch up, as with any 3D program, so that you can see from different angles. You have a single view, a side-by-side, a top and bottom, and 4 views. Then you also have 2 right and 1 left, 2 top and 1 bottom, 2 left and 1 right, 2 bottom, 1 top, 3 right, 1 left, and on. So I'm just going to real quick show you 3 bottom, 1 top, and that's what this looks like. So you can set your, this is perfect for using for lighting, and you can see how the light's going to fall on each and everything. You can check out the whole scene and then just like look at it from the right, left, and top. So this is perfect for, doing that with, and you can switch it up depending on your needs and wants. I usually work in the 2 top and 1 bottom, like that, so that I can get look at different textures and poses and stuff to see them from all angles. But a lot of time I usually go to the single view because I want to rotate and look at it a lot closer, and I find that the single view is good for in detail things instead of the overall view. So I'm going to switch it back to my single view for now. And especially for doing tutorials, I will use the single view unless there's a reason why I need to use the others. So in my tutorials, you'll see that I use single view a lot. It's not what I always use though. We went over workspace and we went over style. Now you can have the program always on top. So if your mail program is running or something, you can easily, instead of having it pop up first, or Skype pop up first, or AOL, IM, whatever pop up first, this DAZ Studio will be on top so that it doesn't get overrode by other programs. You can also go to full screen mode, which I don't like, but you can easily do it. And the way to get out of full screen mode is to hit escape key. When I hit escape, it stopped my recording, so that's why there was a break right there. Anyway, so, and then we can preview the lights. Now, under your home help menu, there are a lot of good reasons to use this when needed. Of course, this is if you haven't registered DAZ Studio, which normally you would register it through here. But you can also go to home, which home is this menu, which has your quick start guide, interactive tutorials, user guide, training videos, DAZ marketplace, wiki, and your scene builder. Again, we'll go over those in another tutorial in depth. You can also go to the quick start user and reference guides through this menu and your video tutorials. It has a help browser and online resources, and right now the online resources has links to the FAQ, the tutorials, the DAZ website, the galleries, forums, and the new user help forum. So if you're a new user, there's a lot of help in the forum, a lot of good threads, a lot of help in the forum. So if you need help, go there. We'll help you out. What's this? And it's interactive help. Now, this is a really great tool. Most programs have them. For a tool you don't know or an icon you don't know, you can click on this, hover over the icon. Actually, I'll do it in front of one that you can see. Now, while I've got tooltips on, so you'll see a tooltip, this will give you a little bit more information. So for like spot render, it tells when this tool is active, click and drag a rectangular marquee in the viewport to define the area to render. Once you release the mouse button, the renderer begins to render the area you defined. So if you're doing like you want to see how a texture looks on something, you can easily do that. If you put a displacement on and you just want to see how it's looking, you can render a smaller area rather than doing a full render and taking 10 minutes for it to render. So that's what that's for. So you can use that to click around on your screen and see what each tool is quickly and easily, at least while you're learning. Okay, we got About DAZ Studio, and this has your splash screen, which has the credits and a copyright button. It also has your version number at the top, so you can tell if you have the new version or if you're a couple versions behind. I'm up to date, so I'm fine. Get out of that. You can just click that. About installed plugins. You've got plugins. If they need to be registered, it'll come up with this box. And even by coming up with the box, it has a little cart here. So you can click that cart. It will call up the product page, like so. And you can then add it to cart and buy it when you're ready. But the green flame says that it's okay. It's loaded. If it's white, up at the top you'll see the icon lexicon up here. So white flame means it's disabled, green means it's loaded, yellow means restart, and red means failed. So if you get a failed, something's wrong. You might need to check it. Yellow means restart it, so go ahead and restart your program, see if it loads then. And disabled, you can disable stuff, but I wouldn't do that. I have everything I need here. So we'll go ahead and cancel that. And then troubleshooting. This is good for information about your video card, which I'm just going to call that up. So it tells you your video card information. And then we've got the best one of all. If you're having trouble with content and it's throwing you an error, You might check your log and see what's actually up, because sometimes the errors get cut off. With some textures and stuff, I've noticed that if they're too long, you got an issue there. But usually they come up. But you can quickly view the log and see if there's an issue. It will also give you errors for like the 3D connection plugin, the 3D mouse support, and any information that if you're loading a scene, maybe it's not coming up right, whatever. You can find what's the true error in your file. So like if it's missing data, it will tell you that it's missing a data file. If it's missing a texture, it'll tell you that. And you can get more in-depth information from your log file. And when you're filing a bug report, if you've got errors in your log file, we really do appreciate them. It allows us to find things. It could be if you're having a texture path problem and the person answering the QA report, maybe they've got a different setup than you do, and that's why you're getting the error. But we can't tell that if you don't give us the log information. So if there's ever anything in the log, please give it to us. Let us know so that we can fix the issue with it. And then you can submit feedback. And this takes you straight to submit feedback. It's a link that goes to your browser, as you can see, and this is where you can file bug reports, and you can file feature requests and things like that. Say you bought something and it didn't come through DIM, or it isn't showing up in your product library. This is where you would come to. So a quick and easy way, or DAZ Studio's throwing a fit. You don't know why. You found this horrible bug. And you can come here and file a bug report tracker. So that's a quick way, a quick link. So if you can't find it anywhere else, you can always find it there. Though if you go to the DAZ website, which I'll do, DAZ 3D, it's usually under help and contact us. Same way, just go to contact us and then submit a help request, and there's that ticket. So in the next tutorials, we'll go over the icons, and they're basically same as in the menus. They're just in icon form so that you can quickly get to them instead of going through a pull down and navigating through it. But we'll go over the icons, and then once we go through those, we'll start going through each and every tool and what it does. In fact, with the icons, we'll go over what each one does, and that's the next tutorial. So I hope you have learned something with the basics right now, and then we're going to go over the basics of the harder stuff, I guess. Thank you for listening.